podcast. Sorry for interrupting. I'm Lou Nieves Jr. alongside
Jesse Torres.
Wow, you're extremely happy.
To be here.
It still sounds weird.
I know.
No, not the part of like being married sounds weird. It's just it doesn't roll off the tongue.
What?
I think Jesse Torres rolls very well. Jesse Nieves doesn't sound so good.
Well, Jesse Torres has always been me. Like,
I know, it just sounds weird. Doesn't it sound weird? At least it sounds weird to me. I think I told you that before too, that it sounded weird.
I don't have to change it.
No, you are changing it. That's gonna happen. Well, anyway, guys, welcome to another episode of Sorry for Interrupting Podcast. This is episode 43. We are in our bedroom, and we are recording from my Twitch studio. We are using... Why are you laughing?
Because you're like, the bedroom, the studio.
Yeah, so it's okay. So in the
our office.
Yeah, there's a lot of things in this room, right? So it's not just the bedroom. It is my Twitch studio, so to speak, editing studio-ish thing. And we figured let's use this setup, kind of what I use when I'm on Twitch.
Since we're trying
all these new things. Oh man, so I know that for me, this whole transition of like us getting married and moving in and becoming one and then sharing the same space has been easier than I thought. I know that gradually it's been happening as time has gotten closer, but now that it's almost here to the point like everything is here,
it's like coming together.
Yeah.
The feel of just me having this apartment by myself with the girls to now transitioning to having you and Louis has been like different. Yeah,
so let's just start off on the right foot. Again, this is a transitioning stage, right? You know, we are gonna become newlyweds, as weird as that may sound to us, right?
Oh my God.
But I think people don't put into consideration, I don't think we did either. When you're getting married, you're becoming one, but now you're sharing everything. So what you're used to doing on your own is now, it's different. Because like, for instance, Jesse's not a messy person, right? But there are times where I'll catch some things like on a chair or something like that. I'm like, Jess, put this away, or slippers, right? Where I'm like everything, like even with my son,
very anal, like,
put the stuff away.
And me, I'm like, it's gonna get there.
So
when it gets there.
That part may be difficult for some people because there may be people that are OCD, right?
Yeah.
But for me, it's not OCD, but it's irritating in my mind because it's like I see it so simple where you are so laid back when it comes to those things.
Like, I'll get to it.
Yeah, and I think
it doesn't need to be like right away because I'm always like on the move. I'm always doing something.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just like, okay, I know that it's there, and I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna move it to its place, but at my time, because I'm doing 100 other things. For you, you're just like, I need to get it done there, so then that way I don't have to come back to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only like difference.
Yeah, but it hasn't not disrupt. I think I'm using the wrong word, but it hasn't affected our relationship where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm gonna be living with this type of person. It hasn't affected me in a way where it's like I can't live with this person. I think things like this, we learn from one another as time goes on, and I know some people, they feel that, how can you marry someone when you never lived with that person, right? And I think I was one of those people when we first started dating. It's like, I would like to know what it's like before I sign on the dotted line the rest of my life that I'm going to be living with this person, because you don't know what that person's like when, in any relationship, you don't know what that other person is like until you're actually living with them. It's a whole different world, right? But I think love overcomes that, where it's becoming like a compromise, right? And those are the things that both people need to work on. And thank God I'm not like a messy person, neither are you. But I know that people out there, like, they just leave their clothes all over the place. They don't so wash dishes.
Right? Because some people, I'm thinking in my head, right? Where, because this happens all the time, right? Where if you know somebody's coming to the house, you do like the easy, quick cleanup. And then when you're really taking the time, you do a whole thorough cleaning, right? So now it's like not that I ever had the house like a mess, but because I've always had it clean. But it was like, had I not been myself with you,
Yeah.
during this time would have been the most struggling time, because it
Yeah.
would have been like, yo, I have to be on point with my cleaning all the time because we're living together. Like,
Yeah. And I think for certain people, it's a lot harder to adjust because this is how they live. This is
Yeah.
all they know. So when that other person comes into their life and it's like, listen, you need to fix this about you. And it's like, well, you didn't say that when we first started dating. Well, because you didn't know that, because you didn't live with one another. And I think
it
that's
didn't bother.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that there's, as we like fully live together, I mean, we're living now.
Yeah.
But like when we fully have everything set
Yeah.
up, and as time passes, we're gonna pick up on these things where, like, you know, we're talk to each other about it. I think, like I've always said in our all of our podcasts and our relationship, it's about communication, how you communicate with it. You
Yeah.
know, like, don't be nasty about it. Like,
course.
yo, you're a slob, or you're doing this, or you're doing that. It's not about calling each other out. It's about helping each other out.
Yeah.
When it comes to, like, you know, even with the kids.
Yeah, definitely. I also think too that when there are kids involved, that's another step that you're not prepared for.
Yeah.
So where the girls have lived with you in your ways, that's how they are accustomed.
Yeah.
That's how they live.
And it's so funny, right? Because you're not used to girls. And two, at that, it's two of them.
Yeah,
So
two little
now
girls.
They moved their rooms. I moved their rooms to another room. So we're
Mm-hmm.
setting up. And and I had this like whole thing on their wall.
Oh, yeah.
And they were so excited about it. But Lewis is not even paying attention to it. So Lewis passes by the girls' bedroom, and Jalen goes, well, he didn't notice that. And I was like, he didn't even look at it. Like, you know, it's not something where he's being mindful of,
Yeah.
oh, there's something new in your wall. So when he passed again, then I'm like, oh, babe, did you see this? He was like, oh, it's nice. And Jalen was like, But the thing is that they're so used to me giving a reaction. They're so used to just me like making a big deal out of something small that with you, it's just like just a basic like, So they're like expecting it, and
Yeah, they're expecting the same reaction Jesse
Like
will
it.
give them. And it's not that I do it purposely, like,
You know.
oh, whatever, they build something in their room. I guess I was just tunnel vision, and I'm like, okay, I know this is their room, and whatever, that's their room. I just walked past. I really didn't notice, and then they mentioned, hey, look what we did. I'm like, oh, okay. But it wasn't anything drastic. It wasn't like they painted the room or anything. It was
No.
just some things they put on the wall.
But they wanted more of a reaction.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And Jessie battles that with me too, where she's like, I know she knows that I mean well, but she doesn't get her from me, if that makes sense. So the way she will react and how she's so like happy and just like full of joy. Not that I'm a mean person, but I don't have those same characteristics as Jessica. So
you don't.
So,
You're just,
like
very just straightforward, just like, okay, get to it, get to your point. And me, I'm like, okay, tell me about everything. Like, I wasn't there, and I mean, don't get me wrong. I also would be like, all right, speed it up, speed up the story.
No, and this is the thing, right? So Jess will say, okay, for instance, right, the girls, they want to make dresses out of their blankets, right? And then
Like a toga.
yeah, and they're like, oh, Lewis, what do you think of my dress? I'm like, it looks stupid. And Jesse wants me to be like, oh my god, it looks amazing. You should go out in the streets like
Because
it.
me,
I'm like,
I'm
no, I'm
thinking
trying to
it's-
tell them the truth. It looks dumb.
No, because my thing is that's their creativeness. That's where
I guess.
when they're young, they start having all these things where we don't want to shut them down. You know, that's how we grew up in life, where people just shut our ideas.
No, I get
out.
it. I get it.
So with me, I'm like, yes, if your vision is to make that sheet into like a dress, go ahead, go, go. And then I'm like, yeah, but you're missing a back. like.
No, and that's the thing, right? I get what you're saying, but in my eyes, I don't want them to think that everything is sunshine and rainbows, because if they have that mentality, like, oh, my mom thinks this looks great, and then they go out in the street and someone says something, like, their heart would get broken,
Yes.
and they'll get hurt. Where I'm trying to protect that from happening and let them know ahead of time, like, hey, that doesn't look good. You need to take it off. I
guess
guess
that's where we play. This is where it
Yeah.
works out the best because they get the best of both worlds, kind of.
Yeah.
For me, it's just a little bit harder to see it because I'm not like that.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's a little bit hard for you to see it the way I do it because you're just like really just like
Yeah, I'm a little bit more
entertaining.
blunt than Jesse is.
Yeah.
I would say that for Louis, right, where I am more blunt, straightforward, like hardcore towards my son about things, where I will catch Jesse off guard and she'll be like, "How did you tell him that?" I'm like, if I tell him anything else, he would think that it's okay. So it's just like I raised Louis this way all this time, and she raises the girls
And
this
we
way.
said this in the past before.
Yeah.
In our episodes.
Yeah.
How we are so different, but
Our
we're-
parenting is very different.
Yeah,
right?
but I think it benefits from both because even when you're a little bit hard on Louis, here I go try to like, oh, come over here, like, and then he's like, hey, Jesse.
Yeah, and he does love Jesse's like enthusiasm and like that joy, that happiness. He enjoys it, and she makes him happy, and I think that's what's important. As long as we are able to continue to make our children happy, at the end of the day, I think that's what matters most, and that we're showing love and
it's so crazy, right? Because I have that side with Louis, and then when it comes to you, sometimes I'm like, with the girls, I'm like, damn, is he a little bit too, harsh on them? Not harsh on them, but more on like, do they understand him? But then you see that they're doing something, and they're like, oh, when like you're not around, they're like, oh, well, Louis, and they refer something to you, what you do, and I'm like, oh. So I guess it's not that bad. Like I'm here trying to baby them, and it's not that bad,
Yeah, and I think in the beginning, when I started coming over more and I was staying over more, I would see things that would bother me, and I'm like, why aren't they doing that? And it's because not that Jesse's a bad parent, but it never came across her mind to correct it.
Yeah, because I was just so used to doing it
Yeah.
with them.
So one of the things is pushing in your chair after you get out of the dinner table. They would literally get out and leave the chair and just keep it moving, as if the chairs get moved in by themselves.
Because of that, because I would
Because
come around
Jesse would do it.
But it wasn't something where I'm like, I would just do it because I see it.
Yeah, no, I get it. You see it and you're like,
But now that you point these things out, like now they're following it.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, let me push my chair in.
And we had this discussion over my dad's retirement party. So congratulations to my dad.
Yes.
He's retired officially, I think 34 years in one company, which is incredible and amazing.
Yes.
And I'm very happy
It's
for
like
him.
your whole life.
Yeah,
Plus
I'm
a
33 plus a year. Yeah, so I'm very happy for you, Dad. I'm very proud of you, and we spoke about this. But we were sitting at a table in my aunt's house where we were celebrating the retirement party, and it was my dad, Jesse, and my stepmom Annette.
And your brother.
And my brother. We were all sitting there, and Annette was saying, "Doesn't this sound familiar to you?" And I'm like, "No, none of this does." And the reason why she mentioned that is because it's like the roles were reversed, where
Yes.
I was Annette and Jesse was my dad in the situation. So if you've been following the story, where there were things that we did as children and I don't remember it, and Annette will see my dad as babying them, babying us, me and my brother, and she would try to reprimand things, and I don't think both my brother and I took kind of it. Mind you, we were a little bit older than the girls are now.
Yeah.
So, and plus we're boys, and we're like, oh, she's not our mom. And not that the girls are saying that to me or to Jesse about it, but we had that little attitude like, nah, we ain't listening to that kind of thing, according to what they're saying. I don't remember. And Annette will correct these things, and my dad will be kind of like, I guess, taken back by it. Like, those are my kids. What are you talking about?
So me and your dad
Yeah.
was just like, yeah, I understand.
They were
yeah,
agreeing,
like,
yeah.
we understand.
Yeah.
Like that's we're on the same page
Yeah.
when it comes to that. And then you and Annette were like, yep.
Yeah, we
Well,
were
it
agreeing,
needs to
and
be-
it's so funny because I'm agreeing with Annette, and then she's like, "But you weren't agreeing at the
At the
time when you were a
time.
kid."
It's so crazy
I don't remember
how-
that, but yeah, it is crazy how like the tables have turned and the shoes on the other foot kind of thing. But I feel that as time goes on, when you're becoming a blended family, you get to learn that other side of the family, and you kind of make it work, right? Like if you two truly love one another and you love the children involved, and you have a lot of compassion about becoming one, you're gonna try to make things work. It's gonna be a little hard in the beginning, because I admit I do get aggravated sometimes. I'm like, but why aren't they doing these things, especially when they leave things on the floor like shoes or hair things. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my mind.
And there's also things that it's just a girl thing where you're not understanding.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, they're in their own stage where they want to, play with makeup and do their nails. God. And
that makes me go crazy, bro.
The whole strict.
They're 10 years old.
And I'm like, yeah, but they're in the house doing this. So
yeah, it's like, they're in the house.
Let them be, because they could be makeup artists later on. You never know.
Yo, there was one time, I wish I had a picture to show you guys. Jalen painted her eye like she got a black eye. She looks at me and she's like, "What do you think, Lewis?" I'm like, "You look crazy." And she's like, "What?" I don't know what she thought I was gonna say. Like, "Oh, you look beautiful. You look like you got a black eye."
No, but you see, in my eyes, I looked at it more on like, yo, that could be more on the makeup artist.
Jesse's always looking for the positive side of things, man. Like if,
like in movies, you need somebody who's gonna look like you have a black eye, right?
Bro, I can't even think of an analogy, but she always finds the positive in things. Like I don't get it. It really boggles my mind. But that's what makes Jessie her, and
that's what makes you.
Yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, those are those things where I feel that for us as parents and blending, I'm sure that there are things that Louis does, and you're like, why is he doing that? But with Louis, I sound like he's a dog when I'm about to say this, so don't take this the wrong way. But I've trained him to do things at a certain time, at a certain pace.
Taught him,
I guess. Trained. In my mind, I'm saying because he's so time oriented. Like he knows he has to be at bed at a certain time. Yeah. He wakes up at the same time almost every day.
He has like a very straight
structure. Like I wake up, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, eat cereal. Like it's just so structured the way I am, and that's the way like
that
I
works
taught
for
him. And the girls are opposite. Like it's crazy, but we're learning, and as time goes on, it's gonna be some ups and downs, but we're learning to blend, and that's what this blending family is, and this is what our life is becoming to be. So this is the journey that we're going on, and you guys have been following us for the last 42 episodes.
Yeah.
And
so we also asked on IG and Facebook,
Instagram.
Yeah.
The way you say IG is weird.
How do you say it?
I don't know, but go ahead. We ask people on IG,
yes,
and Facebook. What did we ask them?
So my question was, what should we talk about in our next episode? Ta-da!
Nobody came up with this topic that we're talking about right now. So
no, not at all.
But
one of the questions were, what was the kids' reaction to the news of the engagement, and did they know already?
Okay.
And what's next as a family? So the kids already knew that we were getting, like, we were not like so much engaged, but they knew that we were working on towards like getting married. We've always spoken about it. We didn't want them to be caught by surprise. We always spoke about it because I feel it's very important for them to be included in our plans.
Yeah. And
not to be just oblivious of what's going on. And I want to teach them and, and understand how relationships should be and all this stuff. So we've always spoken to them about like us getting married. As far as, and we mentioned it before, we already had planned our day before we got engaged. So us getting engaged, it wasn't going to be anything new or surprising. It was just the day that he proposed to me that was a surprise because I was caught off guard. But we've been planning about, our wedding day and us, having a future together. So the kids weren't surprised. They were very happy. I remember taking them to the beach the weekend after you proposed to me. And so the kids are talking in the water and they're like, yeah, because we're going to be living together. And, once they get married, we're like going to be a family. So then Louis goes, wow, I'm going to have my room, like my own room. And then they started just sharing of how they're gonna be together. And it's crazy because like the girls are like now looking forward to like, oh, what day is that Louis gonna be coming, you know, like because now he'll be coming here. And so like, you know, they get excited. And then they'll also have their separation where Louis will have his own room and the girls have their room, and they'll have time together, and then they'll have time that they could be separate. So it's pretty cool to see them come together and be happy and excited for what's to come. And then Louis had asked me, he goes, so what was it he said whose wedding am I going to? And I go, I don't know whose wedding you're going to. He goes, my dad's wedding. And I was like, am I in there? Like so he was excited about that. The girls are also I had called them and I told them and I showed them. They're like like,
yeah,
you know,
they were very surprised.
Yeah,
they were.
So that was that.
Okay.
Another one was how past trauma affects how we love. And I think we've spoken about that before prior, like in, I don't know which episode, but we spoke about how our past can affect how we love. And I think that was for the 5 love language.
Probably, I don't know. We've done so many episodes.
Yeah, but we could speak more about it next time.
Yeah, we'll probably touch on that on the next episode.
Yeah, another one was in-laws. And it's funny because I don't have any problem with my in-laws at all.
No. You get along with my parents?
Yeah,
just fine.
I get along with his parents, and you get along with my parents.
Yeah,
there's really nothing there. Yeah. And this is not because they're watching.
No.
This is not because they're watching or...
But I can't even think of a reason that there was an issue.
No.
Your parents love me. I love them. My parents love you. You love them. It's that easy.
Yeah, it's not that complicated.
But I can understand how some people may feel certain ways towards in-laws because they may live with one or they may be...
Well, one thing also...
Maybe with in the family for a very long time.
Yeah, or the in-laws get involved in the relationship. And I'm so glad to say that neither of our parents get involved in our relationship as far as giving their opinion and making it seem like it's around them. Like,
and I know that could happen too.
Yeah, so. When we spoke about us getting married and us eloping, they were all for it. Like, they respected. They weren't trying to change our minds.
Very happy for us.
They weren't trying to say, but you're not even thinking about the family. You're not. They were just happy for us.
Yeah.
And so we never had any issues. But we do know that there's parents like that. You know that the in-laws can get involved, and I'm just so blessed that. That's not in either of our
I am too.
side.
I would say that I am happy and satisfied with both sides of our family that they respect our decision and respect our love and our blended family, that they're not involved in any way, shape, or form. If anything, they
give us advice.
Yeah, but they are like a plus to our relationship, where they're very supportive and loving and caring.
Yeah, definitely a bonus.
Yeah.
I love them.
Well, that's going to be it for today. I have nothing else more to say. Jessica may have stuff to say, so she can talk to you guys, and I'll leave if you guys want to have a one-on-one conversation with her.
Like, peace out.
Yeah, peace. It's my time, and I got to go. But I do want to say thank you guys for watching, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Consider subscribing to the channel, and also what?
Like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, like, comment,
and
subscribe.
hit the notification bell, because I know that we have about
104. That's right. We haven't even made the announcement. We actually crossed the 100 mark of subscribers, and I know that may not sound like a big deal, but it kind of is for us.
And we're excited. Once we got the email, like, you got 100 subscribers, like, yay!
Yeah.
That's exciting for us.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, hit the notification bell. We know that there's a lot of videos on YouTube. So if you hit the notification bell, it alerts you whenever we post our videos.
That's for the YouTube side. But there are people who are podcast listeners. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Anchor, you name it, we're on it. So, look out for our podcast, either audio or video. And I want to say thank you guys. And is there anything else you want to say? All right. Well, that's our story.
And we're sticking to it.
Peace.
Adios.